Welcome into Drew's Daily Diamond for Friday, February 7th, 2025. I am Drew Martin breaking down the slate of games. Let me know in the comments below where you agree, where you disagree. All is welcome. Helps grow the show. Smash that like button if you're liking the content. As we got two games on the slate, got bets on both of them nationally televised games. And question and answer session coming your way as its first game up, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific on Fox Sports 1. Mackey Arena, West Lafayette, Indiana, for the Big Ten Conference matchup between the UFC Trojans and the Purdue Boilermakers. Boilermakers just short of 2 touchdown home favorites, minus 13.5, 147 being the total. Trojans come in 13-9 on the season, a game under 500 in the Big Ten. Purdue off and running here, 18-5 on the year. Top of the Big Ten standings, 10-2 in the Big Ten. They've been playing great basketball. We've talked about them a bunch on the show. 11-1 at home. They've cashed 8 of their last 10. Matt Painter's team has only lost 1 game since Christmas. So this is a tough team to step in front of. It comes down to the ultimate equalizer, though. 13 and a hook here. Can the Trojans stay within it? Sure, they can. That's what makes a market. But one thing I learned, and I actually lost betting the Trojans on their first road game of this trip. I mean, they were at Northwestern on Tuesday night. Now they're heading to West Lafayette, Indiana, and it's a Friday night game. So it's a little bit quirky of a scheduling spot, I guess you could say, in the Big Ten Conference, because usually it could be like a benefit when you go on a road trip. And then what I mean by usually is they'll do like a Thursday, Saturday turn. So there's only one day where the West Coast team is on the road and then plays their next game. I almost think that could be a benefit. This time, it almost makes it a little bit tricky. I don't think it is a benefit, although it still remains to be seen. Instead, Eric Musselman's best player, their point guard, at least in my opinion, he was out last game, and I didn't think the Trojans looked all that good against Northwestern. I mean, they only lost the bet by 0.5 point. It was a tough one to take, but still kind of learning from our mistakes and the losses. I don't think the Trojans are the side here, guys. I like Purdue minus 13.5. I think they kind of mildly blow them out at home. Mackey Center's a tough, Mackey Arena, tough place to play. I think Purdue wins this one like 85-60. I'm laying the 13.5 with the Boilermakers. Got one game left. It is the best bet for the show and the client play. But first, reminder, if you could comment below, any questions, fire away, as we got a couple of them here. Jason, over the last 2 weeks, I went through pretty much all the comments. By the way, I appreciate everybody commenting in. It is always cool to see different picks. I'll be in there chiming in as well. Jason asking, he's been losing lately. What do I do when on a rough patch? Well, Jason, it's kind of a good segue for the recap of the show. Yesterday, 2-2 minus 0.2 units. And that's actually Wednesday's card. I'm doing this at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific on Thursday night. So I don't know Thursday's result, but Tuesday's result was 1-2 minus 1.2 units. The last week, the last 2 weeks, it hasn't been a good run for me in college basketball. Whatever it is, I just haven't had the right read on some of these teams. And I'll tell you, Jason, like sometimes it really doesn't matter what you're betting on the games. If it's $1,000, $100, whatever it is, I kind of go lower in my bet amount. So if you're just for round numbers betting $100 a game, and you're on a little rough patch, maybe back that up, $50 a game until you kind of catch it a little bit. Because if you're, putting away $5-10 grand in your bankroll going after college basketball and you keep losing, $100, $200 bets, you're going to watch that bankroll kind of go up. I've learned this from past mistakes. So you kind of want to keep your, I guess, bankroll there, even if you're not seeing it well. And at the same time, you don't want to just you can pass a night, pass 2 nights, but you don't want to just totally back it off. So I've always felt I need a little something on these games to just keep my interest, keep in the league, what's going on, and then you'll catch angles watching the game that way. So I would say lower the volume. Also, you don't want to be peppering the board if you're not seeing it well, and lower the amount of money as well. So thanks for the question, Jason. David, with the next question here, it's actually a football question with the Super Bowl coming up. He was asking about spiking the ball. How is that not intentional grounding? That's a great question, David. I always wondered that myself. And I remember back in high school asking this question to my coach. It actually turns out it's just kind of a rule in football. It's called spiking the ball rule, where if you get a clean snap, you can just spike the ball. And it's part of the rules where it will stop the clock for the offense. However, and I've seen this a couple times in college football, is if the quarterback doesn't get a clean snap, drops the ball, and then spikes it, that is intentional grounding, because that would not qualify for the rule. So I guess my answer is that's just the rule. They allow it, but it's got to be a clean snap. I went back and I read the rule, and sure enough, if it is not a clean snap, that will be intentional grounding. And every now and again, you'll see it. It's been a couple years, but it does happen. Thanks for the question, David. Got one more here, and this is from Festa. Kind of a negative connotation to this, but I do appreciate you chiming in. Other people were kind of mentioning this as well, but Festa writes, bro, you only do TV games. You're more concerned with clicks than actually giving out winners. Well, Festa, I mean, there is something to your sentiment. I've been doing this for 10 years as my straight job, and people do like to bet on what they watch. So I pretty much go through, I'm spending hours researching these games, and then I do the video for you guys. And it's more, yes, I do try to put one nationally televised game on there. So when I go down, I have my college basketball like betting sheet, different angles and trends I'm looking to go off of these teams, and then I start my research from there. And if I go down and none of the games that I'm going over don't have a game on TV, I'll go to the top 25 matchups and pick the best one of teams that I've seen before and talk about that game. But no, I have no reason to not give out as many winners as possible. There's nobody paying me to lose type deal. So I guess agree with part of it, but at the same time, I'm doing my best to find winners, man. I can't kind of guarantee them, but hey, I do appreciate you commenting anyway. And just getting into kind of some of the nuts and bolts of the show here, guys. But do got one game left. If you're interested in premium picks, check them out. Drew Martin Experts page, WagerTalk.com. And any questions, fire away. Try to do a question and answer once a week, if not once every other week, guys. But do have the best bet for the show. It is the nightcap here. It's also the client play. So appreciate you guys tuning in, smashing the like button, comment below. But no need to get that. This is the client play for Friday night college basketball. It's also on ESPNU. That's just random, though, because it's a short card. It isn't a big matchup. Michael Hagan Arena, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's St. Louis, the Billikens at St. Joseph's. St. Joe's minus 5.5-point home favorites, 146 being the total. Like this one, guys. 14-9 here for St. Louis, 13-9 for St. Joe's. But the story is in this total. St. Louis is on a 4-17 under trend for the year. They played 21 games. Only 4 of them have gone to the over. Each of their last 2 games have gone under by double digits, so it's not like there's a huge shift in the betting markets. St. Louis I have pinned as an under team. They're up against St. Joe's here. St. Joe's only scored 55 points last time out. They shot like 25% from the field. That game finished under by 30 points. I think the market's off here. 146 isn't a low total by any means, particularly because of all of these stats coming in. Both teams better on the defensive side, and this is an Atlantic 10 conference matchup. The second time around, in the first meeting this season, the game finished 73-57. It finished under the closing total by 22 points. I like this to the under. St. Louis hasn't let up more than 71 points in their last 6 games. I don't think St. Joe's gets there. 146. I don't think we get into the 140s, guys. St. Louis, St. Joseph's, best bet for the show. ESPNU, 9 o'clock Eastern. We're on the under 146. In recap, we're also on Purdue, the Boilermakers, minus 13.5. So, guys, that does it for the Friday card. We'll be back on Saturday. Monster college basketball and the Super Bowl on Sunday. So thanks for tuning in. Smash that like button. Cash those tickets. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, guys.